Planets do not collide with one another. Solar systems do not collide with one another. The universe moves, and in its movement, it does not bump. But there is order. That order is consistent with who we serve and whose we are. In our scripture this morning, we find that someone broke the law. And oftentimes when we read this scripture, we always point to Moses as being the victim. I would like to challenge that this morning and say that Moses is not a victim here. Moses is not the real story here. But there are two people who are victimized. The first person victimized is God. Because Miriam's slander is not against Moses. It's against whom Moses is placed in charge by. The second victim is Miriam herself. You see, oftentimes we think that the person who perpetrates the crime, or the person who commits the criminal act, we often think that they have victimized someone. We don't realize that in victimizing someone is placed in charge by. The second victim is Miriam herself. You see, oftentimes we think that the person who perpetrates the crime, or the person who commits the criminal act, we often think that they have victimized someone. We don't realize that in victimizing someone, you also do some damage to yourself.
Amen. All right. Amen. All right.
There are some things that we do to ourselves just by the acts that we commit.
All right.
In our scripture this morning, we hear that Miriam and this bad assistant pastor. Yes, I said it. Aaron is a bad assistant pastor.
Yes.
Because he's following the direction of someone outside of who is really in charge.
Amen.
So here's Miriam. Miriam, who speaks up against Moses, but in essence is saying to God, did you choose the right leader? Questioning God's ability to see into ourselves whom he chooses and what is inside of us. Like we can look into someone and see who they really are. All too often, the person that we're looking at